What's up, my dudes? Today I'll be teaching you how to make a very basic money jar spell. Now this spell is going to be for anyone who wants to attract a bit more wealth to them, whether they want to buy something for someone or they need just an extra boost of money to last them, or just for whatever reason. If you just want to attract extra wealth to you, then you can use this. This is a spell that can be used by any type of witch. You don't have to practice anything in particular to do this type of spell. All you need are basic ingredients, and these ingredients are going to be very simple. They're not going to be something where you have to spend $20 to $30 just to do the spell. You also don't have to use crystals. I know some people, they either don't have crystals or they don't want to use crystals for their spells. This is just going to be something very easy, something very cheap, and something very effective that you can use if you want to attract money to you. This is also going to be something that can be worn on you. That's the way that I'm going to be using this, because when I like to do my spells, I like it to be charged with my energy. Before you do any sort of spell or any sort of crafting like this, it is a good idea to not only ground yourself but cleanse your materials and cleanse what you're doing. I have videos on grounding and cleansing. They're going to be above right here. Any sort of spell or any sort of ritual or anything, you want to make sure that you are in a good headspace to do it. So before I start the video, I would just like to say thank you to my 100 subscribers. I reached this a couple of days ago, but it's actually fluctuating from 100 to 103, but it's past 100, so I just want to say thank you to everyone that has subscribed to me. It's very nice to have like a small group of people that actually like my content. If you would like to support the channel in any way, you can just click the links in the description to where you can support me directly. So the only thing you're really going to need for this jar is something to hold your spell, something to carry your spell, and actually the things that go into it. Now, starting from the outside in, you want to get some sort of cordage. Now, this is the type of cordage that I'm going to be using. All it is some paracord that is wrapped up, so I can hang this either from my neck or hang this onto something. Now, you don't have to use paracord. This is just what I like to do, just because it is very durable, and also I don't have to worry about it becoming loose or rotting or anything like that. If you would like to go a more eco-friendly route, you can also choose a natural type of cordage, or you can just have some sort of chain. It's really up to you what you want to be using. Make sure if you are going to make a necklace, then you get something that is smaller, so it's not going to be flying around as much when you're wearing it. Also, if you would like to just have this as a charm that you have on some sort of bag, you want to make sure that your chains are very secure so that they do not come off, and also you want to make sure that whatever you have inside is sealed properly. If this is just going to be something that is maybe sitting on a shelf or maybe sitting at your altar, you don't really have to worry about hanging it on anything. Then sealing it is not as important, but if you are going to be wearing it and have it being moved around with you, or either on your bag or on your person, then you want to make sure that it is sealed properly. The next thing is the actual container. Now, you can get multiple different types of containers. It doesn't really matter the container. I would suggest you get something that is small enough to where you will not be bothered by it, but if you have something that is maybe too small, you will not be able to fit a lot of things inside of it. If you would like to have a different size jar, or you would like to have something that is not a jar, so you want a different shape, or maybe you want a different design, there's loads of different things on the internet where you can get different size jars. I'm going to be leaving a few in the description if you would like to know where I got these, but these are just some of the jars that you can use, and you don't necessarily have to worry about sealing them. Just make sure whenever you do have something with either a cork lid or something that goes actually into the jar, you want to make sure you seal it from the outside and also the inside, just so nothing comes in or out. This is especially good if you are using some sort of liquid. If you are just using dry ingredients, then you don't have to worry about this as much. But if you are definitely going to be using a liquid, make sure that you seal it properly so it does not leak out. And lastly, the materials that are going to be going into the jar. Now, these are just going to be a few different herbs that I've picked just to sort of center around attracting money and attracting wealth to me. These are not necessarily the only herbs you can use. Like I said in the beginning, these are just the cheapest and the best herbs that you can find without having to spend loads of money or having to specially order these. These are things that you can either order off Amazon and have sent to you, or you can grow yourself and have a plentiful source. But they're not going to be anything where you have to live in a certain region or you have to live in a certain country to have these. These are pretty universal, and in most places you should be able to get all of these. So I'm going to list the herbs right here, and I'm just going to give a description on each of them. You don't really have to use these herbs, like I said. If you would like to use something else, or maybe you have something else that you would like to add or subtract from the spell, you can. It doesn't really matter what is on the inside, as long as your intent and what you are trying to aim for is clear and precise in what you are trying to do. That is not to say if you do not have these, then you cannot do the spell. Like I said, use what you have on hand. That's the best thing that you can do whenever you're doing any sort of magic. So before you start your spell jar, you are going to want to cleanse yourself and also meditate. I like to get into a meditation before I do any sort of spell, just so my mind is clear and also my energies are centered with whatever I'm trying to do. I would often either listen to a meditation, or I would just have meditation sounds in the background playing with an affirmation or a mantra that I'm working with. If you would like to know anything about doing any sort of custom meditations or custom things for you to listen to while you meditate, I can do a video on that, but if not, then I won't bother with it. But if you would like to know about that, then I will. If you would like to know about grounding, I have a video up here talking about grounding. But just whatever you're trying to do, just make sure that you're centered and you're in line with whatever you're trying to attract before you do the spell. I actually cleanse all of my materials before I do any sort of spell, and then while I'm using each ingredient, I will charge it. You don't have to do it that way. You can charge it all beforehand, or you can cleanse and charge it one time. Then when you're doing different spells, then you just charge it either for whatever type of spell you're doing, or maybe you have some preset things that you would like to use. As long as your ingredients are cleansed and charged, then it should have the right outcome that you're going for. This is not to say if you do not do this, then it will not work. It's just best to practice cleansing and charging when you're a beginner, and also when you're doing any sort of spell. It will just help it to manifest that much faster. And if you have any sort of trouble with whatever you're doing, it's a lot easier to pinpoint what you did wrong when actually you're doing everything in the right order that you're supposed to. So once you have filled your jar with whatever ingredients you are going to use, then you want to make sure you seal the jar. I like to seal my jar with super glue. I know some witches, they have a problem with using this, but I'm using what I have. I build things a lot, so I have super glue. I'm going to be using that. If you want to seal it with something natural, you can. If you would like to just have it unsealed and maybe you wrap some cordage around the end to seal it, then you can. I would not suggest, if you were going to be wearing it, that you use wax, simply because the wax will come off and eventually any sort of water or any sort of dirt will get into your jar and it will mess with the wax, and also the jar could open. I say this because I used to seal my things with wax and they would come off while I'm either outside and it's raining, or if I'm just out and it's very humid out, then I found that the wax would get very damp and then it'll start to come off, and then your jar is no more. So that's why I suggest you seal it with super glue. You do not have to do that. If you would like to reuse that spell jar, then super glue can also be removed, so you don't have to worry about it being permanent. Unless you really stick it on there, then it's not going to hinder you reusing that jar if you need to. And if you are just going to have a jar sealed forever and you would like to dispose of it, I would suggest that you bury it deep enough to where it will not resurface, and also you use something that can be buried. Plastic should not be buried. If you are using something that has plastic in it, you should not bury it. Glass is kind of in between, because yes, it is more natural, but also it could pose a hazard. If you have any sort of extra material, whenever you are doing any sort of spell, I like to do this as offerings. If you do offerings, then this is something that you can do to sort of give back to whatever sort of deities or spirits that you work with. Just giving a simple offering and sort of praising whichever entity or what sort of spirits you practice with is a good way to sort of give back to the universe for giving you whatever you're trying to attract. In this case, if you also give out some of your wealth when you have wealth, then that's a good way to sort of double down on this spell. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that. I just want to say again, thank you for the 100 subscribers. I'm very grateful that I have 100 subscribers. Next milestone is 500 and then 1,000, and then I'm going to keep going from there. Hopefully I get that soon. I want to try and build this channel up as fast as I can. Right now it's kind of hard because I have to work, but I'm doing the best that I can, and hope you all are doing okay during this time. I know a lot of places are experiencing floods and also fires, so if you are in one of these affected areas, just I'm putting out good vibes for you. Hope everything is okay with you. Hope nothing is like too severe for you. One of my friends, the place she works at, got flooded, and they have hundreds of people trying to help them, and she's even been working full days just trying to help them. If you would like to know a protection spell, whether if you're a beginner witch and you would like to do a protection spell to sort of protect you during these times, maybe you want to protect your family or protect your home or anything like that, there's a protection spell right up here. But anyways, have a good day, night life, enjoy yourself, and be happy.